Well, let's discuss the plans with Peter Cochrane. He is a former head of research at BT. He's now an engineering advisor. He joins me via webcam from Suffolk. A very good evening to you. I suppose it would be a great thing for us all to have. Is it actually doable, do you think?
I don't really think so. I have no idea where you've got the numbers from, but an OPEX of 250 million a year is slightly ridiculous. If you have a look at the energy requirements, the cost of ongoing repairs, the cost of people, a fleet of vehicles, you get a rather bigger number than that. The other thing I don't think they've taken into account is the sheer amount of manpower that you need to do in the timescales quoted. So I think it would be rather better to invest in things like community networks, which will get it in really quick and an awful lot cheaper for the rural areas, and to encourage a lot of the independent operators and give them access to the vast network of ducts that are already installed in the towns and the cities. There's not really a huge amount of civil engineering to be done because there is the pipes in the ground. There are poles on which you can hang these new cables. And the tricky bit is, if you like, from the last pole or the last point of access into your home. And there are some very interesting, intriguing solutions to that around the rest of the world. The one I really like is what you call the pizza pack solution, where you pace out the distance to the point of connection, and you get then a box with a modem in it and a length of optical fiber, and it's your job to safely get it down to the point where you can connect it. So there's lots and lots of tech solutions out there that can be used in some cases. Occasionally, you're going to get places that are actually very difficult to satisfy, and you will need to do a lot of engineering. But I don't believe the costings for one moment.
So you're certainly not sure about the costings at all. I mean, I'm very interested in all the local examples that you give, and I know it's an area you have expertise in. I think part of what Jeremy Corbyn was saying here is that we heard a little bit of it there. You know, only government has the ability and the sort of broad approach to be able to get it to every single part of the UK. Because if you're saying these local plans are a good idea, well, then why aren't they everywhere? You know, there's a reason that particularly rural areas aren't as well served as they should be.
Correct, but there are some tremendous successes. If you look at the Barn project up in Lancashire, they've actually installed well over 1,000 kilometres of optical fibre. They put dozens of villages on. It's been done by farmers' wives and the community. And they've done this and it's self-funded. They formed their own company. What I'm actually saying is that with a modest amount of money, you could accelerate. So in this village where I am right now, which is out in Suffolk, we had no broadband, so I engaged with a startup company and we put in our own system. Granted that it is actually a wireless distribution system, but that company is now operating quite successfully and has started to deploy optical fibre too. So I can think of half a dozen really good optical fibre operators that can complement BT, but to have this sort of unilateral, we will plan it, we will run it, we will own it, and it will only be the remnants of BT that we will use, just seems to me to be slightly crazy. Why not use all the resource in the country that we've got? And I have to tell you that an awful lot of the small towns and villages have got tremendous technical expertise that can be brought to bear. And as for it being a free service, when I use the word free, I usually think of abuse. If something's free, it tends to get abused and not appreciated. And I think everybody's quite willing to pay a reasonable price for a broadband service. And if you want to have a look around the world, go to Jersey. I happen to have designed their network for them, and they've got fibre to the home. It was done in 5 years for a population of 96,000 people. The company has doubled in size, and they brought in an awful lot of new business to the island. And the same is true of places in Scandinavia and other parts of the world.
Okay.
The sad thing to me is we were, as a nation, at the front of the broadband pack in the 1980s, early 90s, and now we're right to the back.
Well, and that's so interesting. I'm so sorry we can't talk any longer because there's so many things you've said there that I would love to carry on talking to you about. But very, very good to have your expertise this evening. Thank you very much indeed for now. Peter Cochrane, thank you very much for your time. Former head of research there at BT.